Hello and welcome to this video. My name's Kris, I'm an Australian GP, and today I want to walk you through a couple of tips on making the most out of your GP appointment. We can be really hard to get into, and sometimes you feel like you come out of your appointment and you go, oh, I didn't get the answers I wanted, I didn't talk about everything I wanted, or that didn't go exactly the way I thought it would. So how can you prepare before coming in to make sure that what happens in the room and afterwards is more ideal? If you're interested in finding out, please keep watching. I think the most important thing to do well before you even book your appointment is find out how long your booking is for. Not every GP practice is built the same. In my clinic, a standard appointment is 20 minutes, whereas in a clinic I worked at previously, it's 10. I know of friends who work in clinics where it's 12 minutes or 15. I even know clinics where it's 7 or 8 minutes, which is not ideal for a multitude of reasons. So you can imagine an appointment with a GP is very different depending on which clinic you go to. 7 minutes versus 20, very different, can run very differently and can go over a number of things in one and not the other. So finding out exactly how much time you're booking is important. Knowing how long you're booking for also helps with my second tip, which is knowing your agenda and gauging how long you expect to spend on each item in your agenda. I know seeing a doctor can be extraordinarily expensive. I understand that. And there are ways to try and mitigate this, but one thing I see with a lot of my patients is they can't get in very often for, appointments, but also for cost reasons. And so they try and jam everything that's been wrong in the last 6 months into 20 minutes. And that's just not possible, at least not when you're practicing good medicine. If you do this, if you cram everything in or expect to cram everything in into your one appointment, be it 7 or 20 minutes, it is likely that you may come out disappointed. So in a 10-minute appointment, it is likely we can only go through one, if not two things, depending on the complexity. And the thing is, it may not seem complex to you, but actually is a lot more complex to me than you think, or vice versa. You may think something sounds really complex, but it's actually my bread and butter and something I can do in a couple of minutes. Take a headache, for example. Depending on the questions that we ask, a headache consult may be, yeah, look, you should go get your eyes checked. Or it could be suddenly we're doing a neurological examination, we're testing your reflexes, we're looking in your eyes, we're organizing scans, we're taking blood tests. Like, it can be quite a difference in things. So it can be simple or it can be complex. Of course, I'm not saying that you as the patient should know how complex your condition is, but be aware that in 10 minutes, one, maybe two things, if the second thing is just, I need my blood pressure checked, or I lost a script, I'd like a repeat that I saw you about a month ago, maybe. 20-minute consult, 2, maybe 3 things can be covered. And again, something like a rolled ankle usually is a little bit more simple than something like a chronic abdominal pain or changes to your bowel habits or headache, like I said before. If the consult is 10 minutes and you wanted to talk about being tired all the time and snoring and a sore toe and your blood pressure medications and your mental health and you think you're due for a pap smear and we just can't. Not without rushing, and I think value for money is important and that we should value our health and we should take the time that it takes. And I know it's hard, I know. See, the more we cram in, the more that the chance of us missing something significant amplifies. And that's not good for anyone. So I guess my rule of thumb is 1 to 2 things per 10-minute increment. And some things are more complex than others. So complex mental health, or any mental health, really should be its own appointment. If you've got a complex history of, say, diabetes that you've not been controlling, or that has become out of control for other reasons, or something like multiple sclerosis, or, those sorts of things, maybe save that as a single thing for a single appointment. Also, the first time you meet a doctor, sometimes it's nice to have a double to get to know you, to get your history down, to get an idea of where we're at and then where we're going. So back to a word I used ages ago, your agenda. Please write a list. Now, there are some doctors out there who will hear me say that and will cringe internally because it's the dreaded list. But personally, and a lot of my colleagues agree, knowing what you expect out of me means that I can have a cursory glance and go, I think this is more important, or this is going to take us more time. Let's fire out 1, 2, and 3, leave 4 for next time and do 5, or whatever it is. And that way you don't walk out and go, I forgot to ask about this. Because the number of times that people get to the front desk and go, I forgot about a medical certificate, or I've got this rash. I will try my very best personally to get you back in my room to finish the consult. But once you leave the room, I'm basically doing your notes and then calling the next person in, because we run on a pretty tight schedule. And, you know, these are the little things that can cause us to run late, which I've done a video about why doctors are always late. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So yes, a list. List is very important. Another suggestion is, if you're in the room and you've been given an explanation, or you've been given a title of a condition you may have, and your doctor hasn't offered it, don't be afraid to ask us to write things down, or to at least print you an information sheet. I do this because I know even when I sit in with my own doctor, they'll mention something and I'll be like, that makes sense. I walk out and I go, what'd they say? And it can be a little bit disconcerting to think how many people understood what I said in the room, left and go, that doesn't make any sense, and then leave it. So I'm a big advocate for printing information sheets. I wish I knew how to email them easier to save the trees, but I'm working on it slowly. But I also tend to handwrite things that are more tailored to the person in front of me, including our plan. So today we've talked about this, next step for you is this, then come back. And I find this is just closing the loop of communication and makes life so much easier. Please also don't be afraid to ask questions. You are here to learn about your health condition, how to treat it, and what's next. And our role is to explain it to you. So you're never bothering us by asking questions. I personally, and I hope the majority of my colleagues agree, really like it when patients leave empowered and I guess in charge of their medical condition or their health. So asking questions is super, super important. And if you don't get something, maybe that's because I'm not explaining it right. So let's try together to find another way to make it click so that you, again, are empowered and have that information to then manage your health in the long run. The most important question that should be asked is, so when should I come back? If this condition or this symptom doesn't resolve, when do I come back? Okay, we've talked about this. We've kind of come to a stop. When do you want to see me again? Because there can be a lot of unspoken assumptions where I think it's obvious, like, hey, this is your 6-monthly blood test, it's all good. The assumption is that you hear me say, and I'll see you in 6 months for another one, but you may not hear that. So if I don't make it clear to you, do ask. When do I see you next? When's my next thing? When should I come back? What concerning features should I be looking out for? It's not a bad thing to ask for that clarification, and it helps us as well make sure that we've closed that loop. Finally, remember, we're people too. Yes, we are incredibly trained, and yes, we know a lot of information, and yes, we do our very best to help you at all times, but we are people too. We also have human bodies. So there is nothing you can say that will embarrass me about your body. There is nothing I haven't seen before, and if I haven't seen it before, I've probably heard about it or read about it. And if I haven't, then I'm really happy to learn with you, and I don't find it embarrassing. I always feel really sad when women, for example, apologize for not waxing or shaving or whatever before a pap smear. Honey, it's fine. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at your cervix. You can't prep your cervix. Or when people apologize when I'm doing a skin check and they've taken off their shoes, they go, oh, sorry if my feet smell. You don't have control over that. It's fine. I don't care. And if it smells, I'm not going to tell you, because it's a quick look at, take a photo if I need to, and carry on. Like, I have a body too. I'm human too. I know, and it's okay. So there's a couple of tips to try and get the most out of your appointment before, during, and after your session. If you have any other tips, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. But otherwise, until the next time, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you in a video very soon.